What a moment you brought me to such a freedom. I have found you, you're the healer who makes all things new. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not going back, moving ahead. Here to declare to you, past is over. You, things are made new. Surrendered my life to Christ. Moving, moving forward. Oh, you've risen with all power in your hands. You have given me a second chance. Hallelujah, hallelujah, yeah, 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 oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm not going back, moving ahead. Let you declare to you, past is over. You, things are made new. Surrendered my life to Christ. I'm moving, not going back, moving ahead. Here to declare to you, our past is over in you. Things are made new. Surrendered my life to Christ. I'm moving, moving forward.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Come on in, share, share, share. Come on in here. Good evening, Deacon Holmes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody, just come on in and share. So we're having some beautiful weather here in Florida, which is a good thing. And I don't know about you, but I am happy about it. Because cold is not my friend. All right. Good evening and welcome to Build Your Best Life with Deborah D. Smith. You know, I believe it is better to train early rather than to fix later. And when I say early, it is never too early to begin training. Toddlers, preschool, elementary, we need to start early. Well, you know, my theme for 2022 is it's all about actions. It is all about actions. And that means, you know, your words, your steps, your gestures, your posture, your eye contact, even the tone of your voice, the movement of your eyes are all your action. And your action and what other people see is very crucial. So think about that before you speak or before you act. Everything that you do is noticed. All right. Now, my theme for this month is plan, learn, and navigate. Plan, learn, and navigate. I don't know why. I'm good. Okay. Plan, learn, and navigate. Now, today, my topic is spring forward. And I know when many people saw that in social media, they were like, spring forward? It's not time for time to change already, is it? No, not that type of spring forward. This spring forward is something totally different. When I'm talking about spring forward tonight, what I'm talking about is, do you want to be somebody? Do you want to go somewhere? Are you tired of just doing the same old and getting the same results? Well, then don't just stand there. You got to spring forward. You got to do something. You got to get on a course, start putting in some action to get to your destination. You have to make something happen. So that is what I'm talking about when I say spring forward. And then there is, you want to go forward, not with, well, what is Deborah talking about? What is she working on? So is that what I need to spring forward with? No, not at all. We each have different purposes in life. We have different passions. We have different goals, and it should be that way. So you need to work on what you are working on, but you need to be passionate about it and get into action, spring forward with that. Well, tonight I thought I'd try to have a little bit of fun with this. So I hope you like this style. We're going to try it out. You can send me your comments. Tell me how you like it. But, it's always fun when you can connect a principle with a story. So that is my plans. So these are tips that you can use to follow in order to spring forward and start doing better, doing things, and coming up with, excuse me, coming up with different results. Because remember, if you do the same thing over and over, you're going to get the same results. So you want to try something different. So my first tip is, don't listen to naysayers. Don't listen to those negative people, because they're always going to stop you from springing forward. They're going to try to pull you down if you do start to spring forward. And with that, I have this story about some frogs traveling through the forest. And they were just hip hopping along as they do. And some of them fell in a pit. Well, what in the world? How are we going to get out of this pit? We can hop. That's what we do. But this pit is deep. So two of the frogs just kept crying out for help, and they were trying to get out, but they were just too deep. But then they decided, hey, we got to do something. So then they tried to come up on the sides, and they kept going. And they get a little further, they slide down. And then the other one would go up, hop, hop, trying to get up, and they slide down. But they kept going, and they were making progress. But now these frogs that were down at the bottom of the pit, that weren't trying to do anything, so they were doing the same thing. They just hanging around, not doing anything, not getting any results. They begin to say, give up, you're not going to make it, we're too deep, you can't hop out. So one of the two frogs said, oh, what the heck with it, and he just turned loose and fell to his death. So we only had this one frog, and he was still trying to go up. So he would go up, jump, try to cling, and he'd slide a little bit, but he was making progress. And they was just yelling, jump, jump, you're not going to make it, jump. You know how negative people do? Oh, I don't know why you want to go buy a new car. Keep driving that one. Just drive it till the wheels fall off. They don't want you to see you in your new ride, Why you want to buy a house? You just finished paying for that one. None of your business. But they're going to try to hold you down and keep you from going. But this one frog, he just kept going until he got out. And they were like, wow, he got out. And they want to know, well, how did you get out? Did you not hear us telling you to jump? You wasn't going to make it? Well, he was deaf. He couldn't hear. So he saw him doing all this and going on. He thought that they were cheering him on, wanting him to go. So he's like, I can do this. And I got people cheering me on. So he kept going. But the one that could hear the negativity, he gave up. So don't let those negative people keep you from springing forward and getting where you can be. Remember, you have a purpose. You got some place to go and things to do, and you want to do those things. So Don't let those negative people keep you down. The second tip I have is do what others aren't willing to do. Do what others aren't willing to do. So you may, be retired, but you get up 6 o'clock in the morning, read your Bible, get yourself set, and you go out and you may volunteer different places. And people's like, well, why does he get up? He don't have anywhere to go. He just get up and get out and never home. I thought that man over there was retired, but every time I look up, his car is gone. First of all, it's none of your business. But again, if you want to go out and do something and help in your community, whatever you want to do, that's fine. That's good. And I'm not just saying just retired people. I'm talking about our young people in school. You may want to, we have a lot of, I guess it's in just about every school now, where you can work on your high school diploma as well as on your AA degree at the same time. Well, might have some people saying, well, I think that's just dumb. Why would you want to do all that schoolwork and do all of that? You're not going to have time to go out for the basketball team. You're not going to have time to go out for the football team. You're not going to have time to hang with the fellas. Keep doing what other people are not willing to do. Okay? Don't let others talk you out of what's inside of you. Your personality, your traits, your skills, the goodness of your heart. Just keep going to do what you do. And I hope I'm not froze. I look like I'm froze on the device I'm looking at. I hope I'm not. Anyway, I'm going to continue. So, to go along with that, I want to tell a story about this king. And he decided that he was going to do an experiment with his kingdom. So in the middle of this road, he had this huge boulder placed there to see what people would do. So people would come by and they see it there. It might be one person, a group of people, but nobody ever thought, should we push it out of the way? What should we do? Should we tell someone? They would just go around however they needed to. They managed to get their cattle, themselves, or whatever around this big boulder in the road. So they continued to do that day after day after day. Well, one day this guy came by and he was coming from the store and he had some baggage or some food that he had gotten. He was taking to his family. And he saw the boulder in the road and he kind of looked at it. So he decided to put his food down and go over and push on the boulder. It was heavy. It was really heavy. But he was like, well, that's heavy, but I think I can still do something with it. So he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. He got momentum and he pushed the boulder off the side of the road, off onto the side of the road, and the road was clear for people to just get by, and was, traveling was much better for everyone. Well, he went back to pick up his bags of food, but as he turned, he saw a bag in the road. So he went over to get the bag and he looked in the bag and wow, it was a bag of gold along with a note saying that the king wanted to see who would take the time to move the boulder out of the way, or would they just let it stay there? And he was going to reward the person that moved it. So see, when you get out and spring forward and you do something, you are the one that's going to reap the rewards. Those that just sit back, don't do anything, they're not going to get anything. So you have to do what? Keep doing what you're doing, spring forward, and don't let those that are not going to do anything slow you down. Good evening, Peggy. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. So, then number 3. Any problem can be overcome when we utilize what? Creative thinking. We all have different skills and abilities, and we can do different things. So when we use those abilities, then we can do different things. It's like thinking outside of the box. So here's my next story. So there was a man, and this was a small Italian village, and this small business owner had borrowed some money from a man when he found out the man was a loan shark. And so he owed this man this money. And when you borrow from a loan shark, it's never the amount that you borrow that you have to pay back. You have to pay back more. So it was like, how was he going to pay this back? And this guy, this loan shark that he borrowed the money from, was so unattractive. He was old, bent over. I won't call the man ugly, but he was unattractive. But the borrower had a young daughter. So the loan shark told the businessman, hey, I'll wipe out your debt if you let me marry your daughter. I mean, the businessman was like, oh my goodness, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. I don't have any way to pay this man back. I'm going to lose everything I have. But my daughter, my beautiful daughter, to this hideous man, oh my goodness. So he was like, okay, how can we do this? So loan shark said, well, this is what we're going to do. I know she probably doesn't want to marry me, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to get a bag. I'm going to put 2 petals in there. I'm going to put a black petal in there and a white petal in there. I'll let your daughter be the one to reach in the bag and pull out a petal. If she pulls out the black petal, the debt will be wiped out, but she has to marry me. But if she picks out the white petal, your debt will be forgiven and you won't owe me anything. She won't have to marry me. So that's okay. That makes sense. 50-50 chance. So the loan shark goes over to the businessman's in his yard, and he reaches down and gets 2 pebbles, just like he said. But the daughter happened to see him pick up what? Not a white pebble and a black pebble, but he picked up 2 black pebbles and put them in the bag. So she was like, what am I going to do? I don't want to marry this man. So let's just think about this. And here is where we come with the critical thinking. So we're going to think about this. She knows that both of the pebbles in the bag are black. So if she picks any black one, which that's all she can pick, she's going to have to marry this man. She don't want to marry him. What can she do? So she can refuse to pick a pebble and just say, I'm not going to do it. My dad's I'm not going to do it. Or she can take both of the pebbles out of the bag when she sticks her hand in there and let everybody know that the loan shark was really being crooked. But we don't know what that was going to do, because her dad probably still would have to pay him. Or she could just pick out a pebble and say it was black and then just marry him, and then her dad was fine. So what would you do? Which one would you choose? How could you get out of this situation? Would you have to end up marrying this person? Well, this is what the daughter did. She thought about that thing. She looked at that man and she was like, oh my goodness, I can't do it. She looked at her dad and it's like, oh, I can't let my dad, have go and lose everything he have. I got to come up with something. She's like, I got it. So what she did, she accidentally dropped a pebble on the ground. And she was like, oh my goodness. And all the pebbles on down where she dropped the pebble were black. And so the loan shark was like, you'll never know which one you picked. And she said, well, yes, I will, because all of them are black. So if all of them are black, then it had to be a black one that not a black one that she pulled. She said the only thing that can be left in the bag that I would have pulled is the white one. And so I don't have to marry you. So the moral to that is, Don't just sit by and just be business status quo. Sometimes you got to think. I want to spring forward. I got some things I want to do. I want to start a college fund for my granddaughter, my great grandkids. I want to start a vacation savings account because I want to go to Paris. I want to go to medical school, but I don't have the money. How am I going to do it? Sometimes you have to step outside of doing the normal and do something that's totally outside the box. Critical thinking. So that is a tip that you can follow when you are really ready to spring forward and you don't want to let anything hold you back. The fourth one is to let go of worries and distress that are burdensome. Why? Because when you worry and you stress, is that going to help you? No. You're going to feel like you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. Well, what can you do? Well, a psychology professor went to his class one day and he had a half a glass of water and he was walking around in class with the glass of water in his hands. And he was showing it to his students. And he was saying, how much water do you think this is? And some of them said 4 ounces, 6 ounces, 8 ounces, 12 ounces. He said, well, it really doesn't matter how much is in here because right now I'm holding it up. But the longer I hold it, the tighter my arm is going to get. And my arm is going to get heavier and heavier. So it's going to feel like this is by an hour and a half. It's going to feel like I cannot hold this up any longer. And that's what happens with our problems. When we hold on to them, they get heavier and heavier. And, we're trying to hold them up and it's just heavy, heavy, heavy. But if you put them down, let them go, your arm is free. You can do something else. You're free. So stop holding on to those things that pull you down and don't let you spring forward to go after those things that you really want to go after. You got to let them go. And I know it is easy for others to say, oh, well, don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. But it really is. If we have that faith and pray, we can let it go. We can let it go. So that's another tip that you have to do when you get ready to go after those things in life that you really, really want to accomplish. You can't worry about, well, what do people think? I'm 70 years old, but I always wanted to learn all about the planets or whatever. And, I think the only way to do that is to go to college and major in some kind of the sciences or whatever. But people are laughing and think it's silly for me to go to school at my age. You don't worry about what other people think. That's not their worry. It's not your worry. If it's something that you want to do, you get in gear, you spring forward, and you do what you want to do to be successful in life. It's all about what you want to do. So stop worrying and get busy because you can do it. You can make it happen. And I think I got two more of these and we'll be done. But number 5, and good evening, Dan. Thank you for tuning in. Number 5, never let anyone tell you what you can and cannot do. Now, from young people, your parents, they run things. So, yes, they can tell you what you can and cannot do. But educators, your peers, the naysayers, a lot of people will want to tell you, you want to be a doctor. You can't be a doctor. You're so dumb. You're already dumb. You don't even know how to dissect a frog. How you gonna be a doctor? How do you know that they still do that? They probably do, but how do you know? But there's always going to be someone when you have something that you want to do and you have that passion to get it done to tell you you can't. There is no such word. Remember, we don't use the word CANT and we don't use the word NEVER because you can. Yes, you can. And this, I love this story so much because it is very evident of what one can really do when they put their mind to it. Now, this story is about a young boy, and he came from very humble beginnings. They didn't have much or whatever. It was he and his mom, and she worked hard and everything. And the little boy's name was Thomas. Well, one day Thomas came home from school, and he handed his mother a note from the teacher. And he told her, "My teacher gave this paper to me and told me to give it only to you." So his mother opened it up, and as she began to look at it, her eyes filled with water as she read the letter out loud to her son. And she said, "It says, your son is a genius. This school is too small for him and doesn't have good teachers for training him. Please teach him yourself." So I guess Thomas was wondering, like, why is my mom crying? That's good. So his mom began to teach him at home. She didn't let, that be a detriment to her or anything. If they wanted her to teach her son, she would teach him. And, that was great because he was a genius. And so his mom taught him and taught him. And then after several years, his mom died. And the Thomas that I'm talking about is Thomas Edison. So, he became to be a renowned inventor. He was one of the greatest inventors of the century. Well, after his mom died, one day he was going through the family's belongings, and suddenly he saw a folded up piece of paper in the corner of a drawer, one of his mom's drawers. He took it and he opened it up, and this is what was written on the paper. And this is the same letter that the teacher sent his mom all those years ago. And this is why his mom was crying. The letter actually said, "Your son is addled." And I don't know if you ever heard that word before, but I used to hear my mom call people addle brain. But addled means you're unable to think clearly, or you're mentally confused. Just think about that a minute. You're mentally confused, or you aren't able to think clearly. So that's what the teacher said. She said, we won't let him come to school anymore. So that was why the mom was crying. But she wasn't going to let her child hear those words. She took that negative of him being mentally impaired and told him he was a genius. And he was so smart and teachers couldn't handle him. She was going to have to do it. And so that's what she did. And what was the difference? Can you see what I mean when I say don't let those naysayers speak into your life? This man came to be a great inventor. Invented the phonograph, the electric lamp. He worked on the alkaline battery. So many different inventions. But yet, those simple words on that paper, had his mom told him exactly what the teacher said, he might have been so mentally impaired that he had to go into an institute because he would have thought, oh, something's wrong with me. But he thought he just knew he was a genius. Even his teachers recognized it. So he did the work. He sprang forward and showed them, oh, they got confidence in me. They couldn't handle me. They told my mom to do it. Oh, I'm going to show them. I really appreciate it. So that's why you don't listen to those Debbie Downers and those John Downers, those people that are going to speak negative and tell you what you can and cannot do and what you shouldn't do, whatever. Spring forward, use your purpose and your gifts to do what you can. Never tell yourself you can't. I can do it. Remember the little train we learned about when we were small? I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Always tell yourself you can do it, regardless of what it is somebody give you and say you can't do it. I know when I went back to school and this math was like, oh my goodness, but I never said I can't do it. What did I do? I said in the front of the class, I listened to the teachers. I did all my assignments. When I didn't understand, I asked questions, and they sit up there and act like the deer in the headlight, like, oh, okay. Anybody got any question? No, I asked questions. And when I needed extra help, I went and got extra help. So I learned it step by step, but I learned it, all of it. Algebra, geometry, stats, I learned it all because I didn't tell myself I couldn't. So that's what we have to do. It's very, very important. But I love that story about Thomas Edison because that just goes to show you, how people will try to bring you down and you can't let them do that. This is the last one. And the last tip I have for you is the importance of giving and having faith. Giving and having faith. They always say is the Lord loves a cheerful giver. And I'm not talking about, now I'm not talking about tithes and offerings and giving and all of that stuff, but I'm just saying the Lord says, he loves a cheerful giver, but it is better to give than to receive. It's okay to give to people when others don't have or whatever. If you have enough to share, you share, whatever. So it is important to give and also to have faith. And so in this last story, you had to listen real carefully because I had to read it twice. And okay, I got it. It showed faith, but it also showed to me a little greed. And it's called The Emperor and the Beggar. So it was this man, and he lived in one of the largest cities in India. And he was very poor. He lived out on the streets. He was a beggar. So all day long, he begged for alms and rice from anybody that came by. And so sometimes, he might have had enough for a meal. Sometimes he didn't. Sometimes he didn't get anything. So, sometimes it was good to cook what he had and save some from another day. But then he slept outside. Like I say, he was homeless. But then one day he overheard some people saying that the emperor was coming to town. He's like, wow. Now I'm poor. The emperor is rich. If I can just get his attention, I am sure he'll just feel sorry for me and say he needs to help me. He's just so rich. I know he's going to feel sorry for me and give me something. He has to. That's what they do. So he did everything he thought that would get the emperor's attention on that day. So he didn't wait till the day that the emperor was supposed to come. He set up where he went and got his spot the night before. I'm going to be where the emperor is going to see me. He's going to know I'm poor and he's going to give me something. I'm going to be better off. And so the next day when the emperor came through, all of a sudden they were coming down the road and the royal caravan stopped right before where this beggar was. Oh my goodness. He was just so excited. So he didn't expect any big gifts or anything from the emperor, but the beggar was shocked when the emperor walked over to him and asked him for some rice. And he looked at the emperor as like, excuse me. And the emperor said, can you share your rice? So he had rice, but guess what he did? He counted out 5 grains of rice to give to the emperor. So he gave the emperor 5 grains of rice. And so the emperor took the rice, thanked him very much, and, went along his way. The emperor was smiling. The beggar was confused. Like, I thought he was going to give me something. He came and asked me for rice. So he was disappointed. And he just watched them as they went down the street. And he was like, can you believe that? So he goes back to his place under the bridge where he slept that night. And so he decided to clean out his little container that he kept his rice in. And so, he had given the emperor 5 grains of rice, but he wanted to, clean it out, mix it, and get what he had, see how much he was going to cook for that night. But suddenly he saw, when he was going, fumbling through his rice, he saw something gold and shiny. So he pulls it out and it's a gold nugget. He's like, oh my goodness, it's a gold nugget. And so he couldn't believe it. So he said, I better look some more. So then he pulled out another one. It was 2. Put out another one, 3. Found another one, 4. Found another one, 5. He started, kept looking. That was it, 5. And so he was amazed. I have 5 gold nuggets in this bowl. And then you think about it. He got 1 gold nugget for every grain of rice that he gave the emperor. So that's why I said I had to read it twice because, he wanted someone to give something to him. So he wanted to be seen because he knew that this rich emperor would surely give something to him, as poor as he was. And the emperor did. But the emperor asked him to share with him. And he had rice. But he sat there and counted out 5 grains of rice. So he got 5 gold nuggets. Now just think about it. If he had said, I guess, the emperor's been traveling and, maybe he's hungry too, and giving him half of what he had, he would have been rich because he would have got all of that gold. So, that's why I said it is much better to give than receive. And God loves a cheerful giver because he cut his blessing not even in half. He cut his blessing way down because he didn't even want to share with someone else that was less fortunate. So we have to have faith. So he had faith, that if he could just get down there, that this rich man was going to give him something. So he had that much faith. He wasn't ashamed of anything like that. But he put a cap on it because he was not a generous person. He was selfish. And it's probably how he got in the fix that he was in. So we have to be very careful. We want to have that faith, but we also want to treat our neighbors as ourselves, right? So these are some tips that I thought that would help with you as you try to spring forward to have a better life and do better things in life. And I just thought, oh, it'd be neat to have stories to go along with them because I love when somebody tells a story about something. So in case you missed out, of course, you can go back and read this. You can look at this video later. But please share if you think it would be life-changing to someone, to help someone else that's going on and they're not progressing in the way that they think that they should, that they feel like, I could be doing so much more, getting so much better at reaching my goals and my dreams, to follow these 6 tips. And the first one that I gave is don't listen to naysayers. Negative people will just talk you down, pull you down. Number 2, do what others aren't willing to do. So remember, this man was blessed with gold because he took that boulder that was in the middle of the road where no one else would bother to move, even though it was groups of people that came by. They rather struggle to get by than to move it. So go ahead and do what others aren't willing to do. Be that one. Spring forward. Number 3, any problem can be overcome when we utilize creative thinking. So the young lady, she wanted to help her dad, but she didn't want to marry the ugly man. So she had to be creative. You got to think outside the box a lot of times. You get on a job or whatever, and somebody's giving you a hard time. You need your job. You can only say certain things. Think outside the box. Come up with something creative. Give them something to make them go, huh? Number 4, let go of worries and stressors that are burdensome. Remember, that was the glass of water, and the more I held it, the heavier it felt. And that's how our worries and our problems are. The longer we hold on to them, the more stress it puts on our hearts and the burdens we feel along with that. So you have to let stuff go. Number 5, never let anyone tell you what you can or cannot do. And I mean, I know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to let anybody tell me what I can and cannot do. But when the situation comes up, I'm going to always think about Thomas Edison, because I think that is just an awesome story. That when the teacher said that he was mentally capable of learning and don't send him back to school, his mom told him he was a genius and she was going to have to teach him from home. So you have to have that positive mindset. I can do it and you can do it. So don't forget that one. And number 6, the importance of giving and having faith. So it's very important to have faith, but remember, it's also important and nice to do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. So thank you so much for tuning in today and listening to these stories and these tips on how you need to spring forward in your life to overcome obstacles and to get where you want to be. Just spring forward. Please visit my website. It's www.buildyourbestlife.org. It's www.buildyourbestlife.org. On there, you can see all my social media sites. And if you click on those sites on the home page, it will take you directly to those social media sites. So when you click on the YouTube icon, it takes you directly to my YouTube page. Click on Facebook, my Facebook page, etc. You can read my weekly blog that comes out each Monday. This week it was Look Before You Leap. So it coincided with the topic that we had on Tuesday night. And if you missed it, you have to go back and listen to Tuesday night's broadcast. I've had people contacting me to tell me how much it blessed them. It was just awesome. Pastor Cedric Dinkins was on it Tuesday night. So you got to go back and look at that one. And of course, I have my, excuse me, the services that I offer, which is coaching, consultations, webinar speaking, and speaking. So if you have a young man in your life, or your son, grandson, godson, whatever, and you think that they would benefit from a coach assisting them, don't look at me just because I'm a female. I've raised 3 sons, and I believe that I can do a great job in assisting your son to build their best lives. So, look into it. Give me a call. We can discuss it. And also, I wrote a book, Build Your Best Life. You can also get your autographed copy via my website. Okay, and if you like Kindle, it is also available on Amazon.com. So thank you so much again for tuning in tonight. Please tune in Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Excuse me, my topic will be the road less traveled. The road less traveled. So again, I look so forward to seeing you on Saturday morning, and Tuesday, February 8th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have Henrietta Talfair from Jacksonville, Florida. That's going to be my special guest, so you'll want to tune in for that also. But my next event is Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So your life is what you make it. Follow my principles and begin to build your best life, not tomorrow, not next month, not next year, but now. And remember, building your best life is our business. That is not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. See you Saturday. Please stay safe. You just have to stay safe. Do what you have to do. Do you, but stay safe. All right. Bye-bye.